All right, back with another week of the Big Picks here on the Bigger Ten Michigan podcast channel. I'm Steve Deace with Aaron McIntyre. Good to see you again, brother. Before we get to the picks, let's get caught up on where things stand here as we head into the final 3 weeks of the season now.
Well, if I told you that I missed my bonus pick and you hit your bonus pick, what do you think would have happened? Probably would have been a great week for you. Nope, no change.
No change.
I was behind by 7 points last week. After last week's results, still behind by 7 points. You hit on Ohio State over Purdue, USC over Northwestern, missed on Washington over Wisconsin, hit on Indiana, and then missed on Maryland, Iowa, and UCLA. But you did hit your bonus pick of Penn State plus 15 over Indiana. I was right on Ohio State, USC, Indiana, missed on Washington. Was right, though, on Rutgers, Nebraska, and Oregon. But I missed on my bonus pick of Iowa, Oregon, over 40 points. All of that came out in a wash. You made 24 points. I made 24 points. So we still stay at a touchdown margin of 7 points. Going on to week number 12, is it?
It is already, if you can believe it, yes. All right, my picks this week, I'm going the full 8 on Ohio State over UCLA for obvious reasons. I'm going 7 on Indiana over Wisconsin. No, I don't think punter as leading passer. I don't think that's a repeatable process to pulling off an upset win for the Badgers, particularly now going to Bloomington. And you have to think, coming home from winning those 2 road games, especially the way they won the Penn State game, the Indiana crowd and team, I think they're ready to maybe put it on somebody. I'm going to go with 6 on Oregon with a short week against the Badgers. I'm going to put 5 on Washington over Purdue, strictly on the home field advantage alone, just because I just don't know what the Washington injury situation is. Illinois and Maryland, I don't know where Illinois is. I think they're a lot better team, but they had such high aspirations. They're out of everything. I just don't know where those kinds of teams are at right now. You know, they did the whole Citrus Bowl thing last year, so it's not as big of a deal, but maybe it is. I don't know. You know, so I still think they're the better team, but I'm going to hedge a little bit with only 4 points. The situation here, the weather situation is terrible for USC. I think the matchup is bad for USC. It's just not possible to play Iowa and get out of a mosh pit. The problem is the way Iowa lost that game against Oregon last week, Aaron, strikes me as one of those you could lose that game twice. You know, you lose that game and then get on a plane and go across the country. So I think there are intangibles working against both teams here. So I'll go 3 on USC, mainly, if not exclusively, because they're the home team. I'm going to put 2 on Michigan over Northwestern. I think this is a very high variance game. I think this could be like last year when Michigan came out of the bye and put up a 50-burger on Northwestern nobody saw coming. I think Northwestern could win outright. I just don't know where Michigan is right now after what I saw in person against Purdue a couple of weeks ago. And another game, if there's another team that could lose a game twice, Penn State, the proverbial shot the whole wad, what's left, I guess they still could get to 6 wins at 6-6 and get to a bowl if they care. I don't know where Michigan State is at all, with the NCAA probation thing. And now, people openly talking about is Jonathan Smith gone. I have no clue which of these teams wants to play a game on Saturday. So Penn State has the bit more talented roster, but I'm only going to put 1 point on that one. And my bonus this week, I just think with the weather, I think the total in Michigan Northwestern, I just think is too low. I think it's the kind of game that either Northwestern wins it, like 24-20, or Michigan wins it like 35-14. I think there's going to be just a few more points there scored in that game than are currently being forecasted.
Isn't it?
65.
Yeah.
65, light breeze.
You're going to that?
I'm going to be at that game. First time I've ever been to Wrigley, in fact, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Guess who I'm going to be at that
conditions. Guess who I'm going to be at that game with, brother?
Who?
The legend himself.
Connor
Stallions. I got to be at that game together Saturday, you bet.
Wow.
All right, you're up.
All right. Similar picks at the top. Ohio State over Purdue, Indiana over Wisconsin, Oregon over Minnesota, but that was it's in Eugene. It's on Friday night, I should say. Very physical game against Iowa. You were already banged up going into that game. I don't think they're going to have any problems with Minnesota, but that's maybe something to keep an eye on, at least in the first half. If Oregon's not in gear right away, they should not struggle with Minnesota, though. Illinois over Maryland, although I could kind of flip a coin on that game as well. I do think a lot of points will be scored. Washington over Purdue. I think a lot of points will be scored in that game as well, but I do think Washington will bounce back. Michigan over Northwestern. Again, I think if there was any sort of precipitation, I would say Maybe throw some pizza money, $5 on Northwestern money line. I don't think Michigan is going to have too many issues. I just, that field, I've seen it myself, not seen it with my own eyes, but just when Iowa and a couple of other teams have played at Wrigley Field versus Northwestern the past few seasons, that field just gets into bad shape, and you really can't mount a rushing attack as effectively. And Michigan is already kind of suspect, at least in the passing attack. Not suspect, but you know what I'm saying as a Michigan fan.
Clunky.
Just clunky. Yes.
Like some of the numbers are good, but they just don't score a lot of points.
I wouldn't want to rely on that exclusively.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Penn State over Michigan State. Again, I have no idea what kind of frame of mind Penn State is going to be in. They can't even make it to a bowl game. I mean, that's their main prizes are gone. Their last stand was last week. I think they're probably in a let's just get the season over with mode. Michigan State could say the same thing about them as well. And then my number one pick, 1 point on Iowa over USC.
Look at you.
Yeah. I just think this is
no
one of those,
emotional hedge, but just calling the shot. I like it.
Yeah, I think Iowa over USC. USC has a fantastic offense, and it's not
lead the nation in yards per play.
Yeah, I mean 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. That's their average. I think I saw.
Yep.
It's an incredible offense, and it's not exactly it's not a dink and dunk finesse offense either. They can play some power football. I just think Iowa has slowed down every good offense it's faced. And yes, they gave up almost 300 yards on the ground to Oregon. I just think if you're Iowa, you got to just get like 3 stops off defensively in the game. 3 stops because USC's defense is way behind. Now, whether or not Iowa's offense can capitalize on that, I think they will be able to. But again, just got to shrink the game. And I think Iowa could pull the upset over USC. And that's my bonus pick. Iowa +7 over USC.
So you mentioned those USC offensive stats. Almost the entire USC offense comes back next year.
Yeah. Almost
their entire offense. So we don't have dates for Big Ten games yet. Right now, These are their 2026 opponents for USC. Fresno State, Maryland, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, and Notre Dame at home. Good year to be a Notre Dame or USC season ticket holder. You get Notre Dame, Washington, Oregon, and Ohio State all at home. That's a good schedule. Indiana, Penn State, Rutgers, UCLA, and Wisconsin on the road. With that entire offense basically back, do you think that's a team that can be a high-end playoff contender with that schedule and that offense, do you think?
I think so. I still would like to see them make even more strides defensively because eventually you are going to run into a defense, especially Ohio State, that will be able to run with you and keep up with you. But offensively alone, yeah, I think that's a schedule where you could blitzkrieg enough teams.
All right, well, those are the picks. We'll see if either one of us gains any ground or it's a stalemate like it was last week over the weekend with the games themselves. That's why they play the games, in fact. We'll see you next week here on the channel. Thank you.